What are you doing to your nipples?
I'm not sure I'm going to be able to enjoy the silence if you keep trying to titillate me like that.
Oh, he's doing the thing with the cards.
Don't squirt on me, Kate.
All! The game's afoot! It's time for a mystery!
Are you Australian or British?
Shut your fucking yap, woman!
Australian, then.
Gob! Shut your gob! We're having a gobsmack here! Oi, governor! It's a jolly old dear England day here on Star Trek! A star to steer by! It's a Star Trek podcast! So first of all, today is episode 70!
Whoa!
Yes, that's almost as old as the dear old Queen! Yes, she's like 100 or something. I don't bloody know.
She's 100 episodes old.
That's almost as old as the Queen's son, I'm sure. He's pretty fucking old too. Anyway, governors and governesses, here we go.
What's your name?
My name is Inspector Jake. And I'm joined by my lieutenants.
Chris?
Oi, this is Dame Ames.
I meant lieutenants. That's how we talk in England. Anyway, the other one. Carry on now. Good show.
Detective Inspective... I can't. Let me try again.
Detector, inspective, I can't.
Inspectress Gadget.
Inspector's Gadget. Perfect.
Do you want to say your actual name, miss? Love. You want to say your name, love?
You're killing me.
Come on, before I stuff you full of crumpets.
Don't judge me with a good time. All right.
I'm just going to say
my name's Caitlin. So
Good. Fuck off. There we go.
Also, fun fact,
fucking God.
Prince Charles will be 70 this year.
Oi, governor. Oi, who's the burning expert on the royal family now? Prince Harry, no.
Hail to the man who will never be king.
Let us stop to sing our national anthem. Hey baby, I hear the blues.
Okay, that's pretty good.
But does it parse to God Save the Queen?
Sure, everything does.
Hey baby, what is the next word?
Can feel.
Can feel the blues. Fuck it. I'm going to say the name of the episodes now.
Yeah.
Yes,
All right.
please.
So first, we're going to be talking about elementary, dear Data.
Oi.
It's a holodeck episode, guaranteed to please. It was guaranteed to please the Doctor.
Stuffed with crumpets.
Yes. In which our dear friend Data I should say.
One of them is not my name.
That is true, yes. Good show. In any case, we're joined by our heroes as they endeavor to solve a Holmesian mystery in the holodeck. So, they dress up like losers. and they set the time warp factor for the holodeck to jolly old England. If this were the original series, they'd just go to a planet that was jolly old England. But in this world, we're in the holodeck, because it's the future.
Yeah, why didn't we ever get a Sherlock Holmes planet? That's fucking way better than Nazi planet.
This is how it is. You know, quite. In any case, yes, so we're joined
I like how
by...
we've segued very smoothly into a new voice for Jake.
Yes, this is more proper. I wanted to be a little more, yes.
He's reached full inbred with this one.
Yes, quite, yes, hemophilia, yes. In any case, we are joined, we joined them on the holodeck, jolly old England, where the young Geordie LaForge, or as he is identified by Dr. Moriarty, that dark fellow over there. Oh my!
Did he actually say that?
Yeah, I
Yes, he
commented
did.
on it.
He quite did. It was Anyway, it's a bit saucy, as they say.
Could have just said the fellow with the visor, but
No,
I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
He
it's
also
of
could have said
all the
something a lot
things that
worse.
are weird about the way Geordie looks, he's gonna comment on his skin color. Get with the program, Moriarty. It's the 19th century. Anyway, here we go. So Geordie tells the computer to make an adversary capable of defeating Data, which was his big mistake because the computer invented a man, Moriarty, who was able to take over the ship somehow, and then Picard had to go in there and talk some sense into him after he had banged Dr. Pulaski.
Actually, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle did invent Moriarty.
How dare you correct me?
It sickens me.
Alright, and that's about the end of that shit.
I liked it though.
I know.
What? You didn't
We'll
like
get
it?
to
Hold on, we
Oh
got
my
a whole
God.
nother synopsis to do.
Well, fucking
It's
hurry
the
up.
Outrageous Okona! For the benefit of those at home, Jake just gesticulated much like Data with the constant back and forth arm motion.
I really
That's
wish
what
we
Data
were a
did?
video podcast. Yeah, when he's like, and I told her I was
Oh,
gonna
that
tell a
part.
joke, but I
Hey.
really fucking suck at it, so I just kind of look like I'm space fucking the wall.
Hey, Data, you ever go
Lucky
cross-country
wall.
skiing? Okay, so anyway, the outrageous... Is it Okana?
I think it's
Okona.
spelled Okona, but everyone says Okana.
It sounds like O'Connor, but like in a Boston
Yeah.
Oh,
accent.
so it's Okana then, is it?
Nah, it's fucking O'Connor.
Ah, right,
Get
okay,
that fucking
whatever.
prick bastard O'Connor on the
The
phone.
baby
It's a
fucking
baby
wheel!
wheel is what it is.
It's a baby fucking wheel, G.
Alright, so the outrageous Okona, we don't fucking know. They said Okana on the show, so there's probably a typo in the titles, but
Or they
whatever.
didn't know how to pronounce and just went with it.
Okay, whatever. Either way, we meet this dude on a little shitball ship. Beam him aboard. He's got a bitchin' ponytail.
He starts
Yikes.
laying pipe almost immediately.
Yeah.
Before he even gets on the ship, he's like, a woman!
Boing.
the women!
Yeah. So yeah, and all the huddies came out to see this guy, even though he was a greasy motherfucker.
His hair was awful.
His
Some
hair was
ladies like
bad.
that.
Anyway, he's got a broken ship, so of course they're like, we'll fix it for you, because we're the Federation, that's what we do. And then some other dudes show up from another planet, and they're like, no, this guy knocked up my daughter, so give him to us. And then some other dudes show up from a different planet, and they're like, that guy stole my cock ring, give him to us. So then the card has to be in the middle of this thing to whether or not to give the guy over to the people. In the end, it turns out that he didn't knock up the daughter or steal the cock ring. He was bringing the cock ring to the daughter, who was in love with Romeo, and they committed suicide. I don't fucking know. Anyway, the B plot was far more interesting because Data needs to learn how to tell a joke. Wubba yaka yaka.
Oh, Schweinleben!
So, Data's trying to explore humor. He does a holodeck with Joe Piscopo to evidently learn how to be a comedian. And fails.
Yes. In every way.
Spectacularly.
And really, it was terrible. But the Guinan was alright. I like Guinan in the show.
Her joke sucked, though.
No, I loved her joke.
Her joke sucked.
Like, you're a droid and I'm annoyed.
I loved it so much.
Why?
It was a terrible pun.
It's not even...
So yeah, that's what we got.
Cool.
Yeah, some good shit.
Yeah, this was a terrible week for me.
Yeah,
bad
it
This
last
was a
week.
really bad
There was
week.
lots
no,
of
this
fun.
is worse.
There was a
than
lot of
last
fun
week,
this
I
week,
think.
huh?
Really?
The thing is,
What
I
is
can.
it? What's the thing?
Well,
is?
here's many of the thing.
All right.
Elementary, My Dear Data, is probably actually terribly, terribly written and acted. But it's got so much Brent Spiner that I want to be okay with it. Like, I had really high hopes for saying, oh good, we'll see more of Data playing Sherlock Holmes. He's good at that, but it was upsetting.
Yeah, his Holmes was not great.
No, his Holmes was
Made me
not
really
great.
sad.
Like, I felt like every single second they were just explaining things. And granted, that's what Sherlock Holmes does. But you know what? This is a fucking television script and not a fucking novel or short story written by Arthur Conan Doyle. So,
They spent too much of the episode leading into, because, Moriarty gaining sentience and taking over the ship, that's the plot.
and that's a great plot.
But it
that's
takes them 25 minutes to get to,
that's
And then they
the
have to
last third
explain
of the
it
episode.
5 times that this is what's happening.
It's also apparently really easy to create sentience.
Yeah, you just tell the computer, make
a life form that's sentient, and it will do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that did seem like, come on, give us a token. The ship was struck by a field right when it happened, and that's why the polar inverse isolinear.
Didn't they said there was some kind of surge they saw in the holodeck, but I would assume that was just Moriarty coming into existence.
I think it was the computer
making him
putting all of its processing.
Yeah, if
power
they had
That's what I thought too.
If they had hit some kind of a fervor of what's it in space.
Yeah, and technobabble.
Yeah.
Hey, really, where's Light Baby when you need him?
Like, seriously.
He could have brought life to that shit.
It should be just every time you turn around, the fucking...
Every time I turn... I don't know the
holodecks, pooping out sentient grams.
There is the question, though. The question being, was Moriarty actually sentient?
Or programmed to think he was sentient?
Yeah, or was he just programmed to think he was, was he just aware? Like, the only thing that really shows that he's anything more than any other holodeck character is that he knows that he's a holodeck character.
Like that poor detective found out at the end of that one episode.
Well, that's what they told him. Moriarty figured it out because he saw the arch.
Yeah, he had, his Moriarty's two big things were he knew he was a holodeck character, and he
didn't want to die,
and he could access the computer.
Also that.
Mm-hmm. Those were the big things.
Mm. Well, I know, and this is jumping ahead, and I'll not imply too much, but I know we do see a kind of sequel to this episode several seasons from now.
Season 6, I think.
Season 6, and that's because Sherlock Holmes, either at the time or in perpetuity or something, is technically still owned in part by the estate of Arthur Conan Doyle or whatever the fuck.
Oh yeah, I've read about this.
So there was a whole bunch of to do with getting royalties paid and shit.
Yeah, no, I actually read about this years ago. They had hoped to maybe do more of those sorts of, Data as Holmes stories, and the Doyle estate was like, excuse me.
It's probably more like, pardon me.
No, that's true. But ultimately, they lost a court case in the last couple of years, so now I think everything except, I want to say the last book of stories is finally in the public domain.
Huh.
So as long as you're not adapting one of those stories, you can do whatever the fuck you want with Holmes.
So many Holmes porn parodies.
Sherlock Bones.
Yes. Speaking of Sherlock Holmes, I went and read The Final Problem today, which is the short story in which Moriarty is introduced.
Yep.
And he was introduced as a way to kill off Holmes because Doyle wanted to stop fucking writing Holmes.
Yep.
So I read it today. I am not a mystery kind of person, so I found it insufferable.
Well, it's also the least mystery of the Holmes. It is mostly just, we're going to introduce this character so I can kill Holmes, so I can write my other stories that no one cares about. Oh god, I need to bring Holmes back from the dead.
Yep.
I don't understand why... Okay, I understand that people are, artists and have, grand visions and shit. You can still write the grand vision shit and still get paid. Why would you kill a fucking cash cow like Holmes?
I mean, was he really a cash cow at the time, though? I know he,
I feel like he must have been, because it was all in, newspapers and stuff. He must have been getting something for it.
That's true.
And then they were probably getting printed, he was probably getting money, and they were probably getting reprinted, there were probably books. I don't know. Chris, you know more about Sherlock Holmes shit than I do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it, made him crazy rich.
Yeah, that's the internet.
But it kept him off the streets.
Internet.
Yeah. And, I mean, it did well enough for him that he eventually did bring him back.
What's interesting to me, though...
That is snuff money.
...is that, they said that, the whole point of this, in the episode, the whole point of this story was that it was an original Holmes mystery.
Yeah.
But it was very obviously based on the Croydington house, which was
The Crumpetsing House.
The Crumpetsing house. No, the Croydington house. It's one of the earlier ones, I think.
Which story? The story with Moriarty? Or
No. Well, no, it didn't. They just swapped out the villain. It wasn't Moriarty in the Croydington house.
What's the Croydington House?
I haven't heard of that.
You haven't heard of that one?
The Paddington Bear.
The Paddington. No, it's just like any other Holmes story. There's a mystery in a house in the moors, and they go out there, and they arrive, and there's a large feast going on, and Holmes and Watson insert themselves in the feast. There's another murder as they're serving the salad course, and as they come out with tossed salad and scrambled eggs.
You know how hard it was for me to keep a straight face? Because I know there's no such story as the Croydington house.
I wondered why you weren't saying anything.
Oh, man.
And also, I actually stopped listening to you, but I could feel the tossed salads and scrambled eggs coming.
Oh, god damn it! I ruined it!
They did, however, fuck up A Scandal in Bohemia. And that was
Was that
supposed
the first one?
Yeah, the one that supposedly they were doing like it was done in the story.
Because he knows you know Holmes shit.
Some of it, not as much as Data, but I know
Couldn't
Scandal
fool
in
you.
Bohemia well enough that
Really, the internet can't give me a simple fucking answer to this question?
I'm sorry, Kate.
there wasn't
Me
a
too.
photo sewn inside some thief's pocket. That was as much nonsense as the pastiche
Yeah,
later.
that annoyed me. I was like, that's not what happened.
Yeah,
She
no.
has the pictures. Why are
Yeah.
you doing this?
Maybe because they didn't want to get sued. Maybe they thought they could.
They figured they could get away with Moriarty, Holmes, and Watson, but not Irina Adler.
Well, if you notice, whenever they pronounced Holmes, they pronounced it Holmes. Whenever they pronounced Moriarty, they pronounced it Moriarty.
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 This has gotten strange.
And Watson could be anyone. That's just a common name.
Yeah,
True.
it's true.
True. And we all know Watson
Could be
wasn't
that-
a black guy in the story.
It could
That's
be
true.
the computer that
A
played
dark
gave up
fellow,
Jeopardy.
as Moriarty
fellow.
said.
I mean, honestly, considering what they probably actually would have called him back in the day,
He would have been like, look, that obvious spaceman with the space eyes.
No, I thought it was very
eyes.
funny that, Picard insists on going to change into a costume, because he's already had an instance where people in the game have said, "You're wearing something funny, aren't you, man?" And he's like, "Shut up, it's my uniform."
well, but he looked hot. He looked fucking hot in
He
that
looked
outfit.
alright, but the
Cool
thing is,
top
like,
hat.
they
was a
also,
good look
they
for
dressed
him.
up Worf, who looked alright.
He didn't even get to go in.
He didn't even get to go in, but it's like, you're worried that they're gonna comment on your wardrobe,
But not
yet
Worf's
Geordi's got
noggin.
a visor, and Worf's got a fucking headpiece,
Well,
And
that's
Data's a
that's his
robot.
head.
and Data's a robot.
Well, see, he pass it off as like, my friend here is an albino, and my other friend here,
got his
rice-picking
forehead
accident.
caught in a rice picker.
he just smoked too much opium, and, well, time and opium makes fools of us all.
Didn't Patrick Stewart play Scrooge at some point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
After Star Trek, though.
Damn. I was like, I wonder if they made any reference to that with the costume choices.
Nope.
I actually really liked the end of this episode. I know you did too, Ames, because you were just glad it was over. But that's not
Well,
why
there's
I
that.
liked it.
Why did you like it, Caitlin?
I kind of loved that Moriarty was so, like, chill. Because he's like, I'm making these demands, but I'm also going to have tea with my new girlfriend who I'm going to
Aw.
stuff with crumpets.
They
and
love
then
each other.
They do. She was into it. She was. I hope. I don't know.
Otherwise, she had nothing to do this episode except kind of crack wise at Data for a while, and then be a prisoner who ate crumpets.
See, Data, I told you were a fucking idiot who has no soul. Piece of shit. Fucking
But also,
overstuffed calculator.
I sort of like that, there was no real, like, by the end, it wasn't some sort of grand evil scheme. It was just, I need the attention of the captain. I'd like to live, please, which is a reasonable request. It's just like, fuck, all right then.
He
It
took
was-
no for an answer too easily was my only complaint, I guess, because you feel like if they hadn't spent so fucking long being like, let's see all this stupid bullshit from...
Let's solve a pointless murder in the meantime. Oh, the wife did it.
Yeah.
Done.
Even at first when they're like trying to do the Scandal of Bohemia, we didn't need that. We could have jumped right to the like elements of Holmes in Holmes thing.
Yeah. We also could have spent less time with the HMS, whatever the fuck.
Victory.
It's the good ship, HMS Cock Robin on a home trip. Up and down she's bobbing, though the weather's so rough. The crew's very tough. They're all fed up and said that we've had more than enough. I've a brother.
Alright, that's enough
He's
of that.
an able
No, not
seaman, and they call
No, that's enough of
him
that.
Yeah,
Redhead
the best bit.
Tom.
I don't fucking give a shit about the best bit. But listen, it was an urgent matter that Geordi had to show Data that fucking ship and then bring him to a fucking play date on the holodeck.
Play
Yeah,
date.
could have just gone straight to the holodeck.
Yeah, it wasn't really necessary, especially because they fucking broke it anyway.
Not even that badly.
I think the reason why it felt especially pointless, because it's like, I wish I'd been on that ship. It would have been awesome to live that dream. It's like, that's not necessary. We don't ever see it later. You're not like, it's not like in Holmesland, he like suddenly finds himself like captaining a ship and being like, like,
It was a
Why
pointless
did we
setup
bother?
to show off that ridiculous model, which here's how that scene could have been better, right?
cutting it on the edit room floor.
Okay, other way it could have been better, aside from the obvious.
If Brent Spiner was naked.
What? Well, not that scene, but the reason for it existing is if later, while the ship was lurching, we cut to engineering, and it's about to topple over, and then in
Into
rushes
the warp
Shimoda.
core?
And it's like, it's shenanigans as Shimoda desperately juggles it as the ship. Yeah. Oh, no! And then he, like, after all this tense, like, he just keeps saving it, and then he gently puts it down.
And
Sneezes
it
and it
smashes
falls
into
over.
a million pieces.
Or that, either way.
This is not an episode of the Looney Tunes.
Oh, that's the next one, that's right.
I did hear that the original ending of this episode explains why that the sheet of paper could exist outside the holodeck.
Does it? I was
For them to
wondering.
look out. And that's Picard would have realized that Moriarty could exist outside the holodeck all along because something must have gone wrong with him gaining sentience and shit, or something was different.
Okay.
In that, see, the paper can exist outside the holodeck, which means he probably can if he comes out, but that Picard would go in and lie to him and say, nope, we don't have that capability. You're going to have to stick around in here. Bye.
What a dick.
But Roddenberry nixed that because it made Picard seem cruel.
Well, and
I
also,
also just-
Moriarty would have seen through it.
And I just assumed
Maybe.
that the paper, which why would Data hand it to Geordi upside down? But whatever.
That was
I also just assumed.
his visor would correct it.
Oh right,
Well, and Data's a computer, so no matter what way he looks at it, he probably sees it right.
it's true. It's also space, so there's no
Up
up
is
and down.
relative.
Really, what are four-directional things?
Yeah, but they were looking at it upside down.
Yes.
Yeah, I just assumed that it was like replicated, like like just like how when they got wet.
Like all the scones that Pulaski must have eaten.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking, too.
Scone after scone after scone.
Like, they can get wet. There was the Dixon Hill episode where the lipstick left the holodeck with Picard.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like the one thing that can't survive is something that's supposed to be alive, which would make sense because that's more complex, and the computer is probably running it. Whereas, like, it's not a stretch in this world, to say in this world where you can summon matter from thin air that, yeah, some of this is real.
Yeah, I mean, I get the sense that the holodeck is kind of like puppets, right? Like the
Yeah.
computer's controlling the puppets.
Yeah, I think computer does a fucking lousy job though. If we remember in We'll Always Have Paris, computer did a great job improvising and figuring out a thing for Picard to do in his little Paris cafe. In this thing, when it tries to improvise and do the shtick with London and a snake falling and all this shit, it's like, computer, create a new Holmesian story doesn't mean just smashing two other ones together.
Well, it's one thing to say, I want this cafe, and it's a nice day, and it's another to say, computer, write me some fan fiction.
Computers are, after all, just stupid children that do whatever we tell them, or whatever Tom Baker said that
Yeah, I
time.
can't quite remember the line.
What else happened? Not much.
Yeah, not much this episode.
much.
We didn't see a lot of stuff because we were kind of stuck with Data most of the episode, which normally I wouldn't be complaining, but I thought it was fucking shit.
Oh,
so.
Pulaski got to be a shit to Data again.
Yep.
She always does.
Yeah, she loves that.
She wore a sweet dress, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, she looked good in that.
Yeah,
That
this
really
episode
worked for
was
her.
nominated for Emmys in art direction and costume design.
Yeah,
I
sure.
can see that.
Yeah,
It
we'll
was
begrudge
very
him those.
attractive.
I will, because I thought only Pulaski's costume was any good.
Oh, I really liked Patrick Stewart's
And
costume.
Laura's
looked
costume
good.
was pretty nice.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. I liked it fine. It was just fluff. It wasn't like, really serious. Like the other episodes.
I do have a note
Like the
here.
Outrageous Okona?
Oh, no. I do have a note here that, there's a moment where when Picard first bursts into Moriarty's lair, he's like, well, you've beaten Data, your program is done. And Moriarty is like, what? I was like, yeah, no, Picard talking to computers to death.
That's a
Kirk's domain.
Yeah, that's a Kirk domain.
That would have worked if you were a different captain with a terrible piece.
Yeah.
Kirk's hair was fine.
Also, I did kind of like, and I don't think this was on purpose, but who knows, that by the end you've got Data in the sort of what has become the stereotypical deer stalker in Inverness cape, and Picard in sort of a nice suit and top hat, which, because that was sort of an image that was created by the movies. Holmes and the Inverness and the deer stalker, because Holmes in the stories is actually like, he's depicted often as being kind of, in newer versions, being sort of not really giving a fuck about, protocol and whatever else, but actually in the stories, Holmes is super conscious of certain societal norms and he dresses very well, and a man who knows fashion wouldn't wear the deer stalker and the Inverness cloak around town. That's something you wear on, like, a hunting weekend. And the reason it gets associated with him a lot is because there are so many adaptations of, like, Hound of the Baskervilles, which is one of the few cases in the stories where he would have. I don't remember if he does, but he would have because it's like a country estate kind of thing. So in the end, you've got Data in the sort of the popular image Holmes outfit that doesn't actually make sense, and you've got Picard in something more like what Holmes would wear in the city. And I don't know if that was intentional or had something to do with, like, the idea of
I think it's a recognizability thing. Like, people would recognize, like, what they think Holmes should look like based on the media and shit.
Yeah, and that's probably all it was, but it was still...
If he didn't have the stupid pipe and everything, no one would know who the fuck he was supposed to be.
Yeah, but it was still kind of funny that you've got Picard here. It's like, all right, I'll actually fix the problem, and he sort of actually looks the part in a different way than Data, who's kind of playing at it.
Did Holmes wear a lot of top hats?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, often, again, if he was in London, he was usually depicted in a top hat.
Interesting.
Yep.
Troy was empathing again, and it didn't make any
I
fucking
forgot about
sense.
that.
She did a stupid thing. I wish I had written down what she said, because it was talking in circles around, like, I feel a presence in the holodeck, and it's weird, and I'm uncomfortable by it.
She seriously does just sound like a fake TV psychic half the time.
I sense that you once had a male family member, is that right?
Beginning with a J?
Call me now for your free reading.
I sense that you've stopped buying my bullshit.
Oh, you just reminded me that Madame Cleo is dead.
Miss Cleo.
Miss Cleo?
You couldn't be that sad. You didn't know her name.
You lying bastard.
No, but like, I miss her commercials.
But she was a total fraud.
They all are, bro.
Yeah, but it wasn't. You didn't even talk to her when you called. You talked like a call center.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Do they at least fake the Jamaican accent?
I doubt it.
Son of a bitch.
Hi, you've reached Miss Cleo. This is Craig. How can I help you?
Miss Craig, at least.
Nope. Just Craig, please.
Would we like to talk about... Because I think, there was some disagreement over Elementary Dear Data. Mm-hmm. I think we can probably all agree that the next episode
is the best
toss.
ever.
Fuck.
Caitlin.
What?
So, let me
toss salad and scrambled eggs.
Well, actually, before we move on to that,
Yeah.
we need to take a straw poll. Did Pulaski have sex with Moriarty?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure we're all in agreement
He
on that.
stuffed her full of crumpets. What do you think that means?
I mean, when they walked in and she was like on the splayed out on the couch and like fixed herself real quick, I was like, yep, that's...
Yeah, no, they totally both.
Well, he at least made it to first base, but I would guess that it's the 24th century. She's a strong, independent woman.
She was so impressed when they got on the holodeck with how realistic everything was. She was really just trying to figure out how far it went.
A lot of explaining how the holodeck works again.
Yeah.
Every time we go there. I did like when the effect when Moriarty was fucking with shit and you could see...
Oh yeah, you could see the glowy wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually really well done. I forgot about that.
That was cool.
Yeah, and I think they did make a mistake in having Geordi try to explain the holodeck.
Yeah, that was never
because it's like, just don't explain it, because when you explain it, it makes us think about how stupid it is.
Because then when we think about it, and I start wondering, wait a minute, so how are two different scenes? Because Pulaski's been in the holodeck the whole time. The holodeck is one big room.
Yep.
She's somewhere in here.
Yep.
Don't ruin this for me.
I have to. It's complicated, and it's making my brain hurt. And no, it makes no sense.
I'm just the way I always assumed it kind of worked is once you go in, if you're with other people, it puts a bubble around your group, and that's what you see. And then if somebody goes off, their bubble kind of
what happens if your
separates.
bubbles walk into each other?
Well, no, you just go, and I also think that the holodeck floor must move like a treadmill.
Oh, it absolutely does. I was thinking that too. It definitely does.
So it's just like, okay, well, Pulaski's walked over here now, so we're gonna put her there. Now the question is, how does it bring everybody together without them noticing at the end?
I mean, really advanced computerly doodlies.
I would guess so.
But yes, chances are she was in the bone zone 2 inches from Picard for a while there.
I mean, probably 7 or 8 inches from Moriarty.
Thank you. I was trying to figure out how to say it. You did it.
You know what was even closer? Were all those women to Okona.
Oh.
So my notes include...
Yeah, they were 2 inches from him. He had a small peak.
Well, no, if they were 2 inches from him, that would mean that there was 2 inches more dick than they could handle.
Oh, so...
So actually, he's 15 inches long.
Oh my.
So, my first note for this episode... Oh, God. My first note for this episode, I already hate this guy.
Yep. We're introduced to him by watching his ass.
7th note, I hate this man. And my 6th note, right before that, all in caps with an exclamation point after each word, which is something I don't often do. Stop trying so hard.
Yep. Yeah, this was rubbish. This was a rubbish episode.
Rubbish!
It might be my least favorite so far
Wow, of TNG?
of TNG.
Wow, even worse than the other bad ones
Code
that
of
we
Honor?
didn't like?
Well, I'm the one who didn't hate Code of Honor.
What about
Oh,
the
yeah.
child? This is worse
Close.
than the
That
child?
one's really close. It's really close to the child.
This one is pretty bad.
It's so bad. They had every element was shit. The acting of every single person was awful.
Although
That woman was the
pregnant
Yanar
one?
so bad.
Oh my god!
They just went out on the street and were like, "Hey, that's a pregnant lady. Bring her in. We're gonna
Stick a Walter Koenig wig on her, as
shoot
Caitlin
these
noticed.
scenes.
and-
No! I'll marry Okona! Lodge.
But yeah, it's like
So bad.
they wanted this guy to happen so badly that he was immediately reprehensible. Like, you could tell they thought they had their TNG Harry Mudd.
Oh, if that was the goal, mission failed.
So badly.
It's horrible.
It's pretty damn bad.
This, like, the thing about Harry Mudd was he was a bastard
Yep.
and he was charismatic.
Yep.
So you actually kind of liked him,
Even though you didn't want to.
even though you didn't want to.
I
And
mean, this guy was supposed to be really charismatic, but he was also just terrible.
well, the actor sucked, but he also wasn't a bastard. He was just
He was a hooker with a heart of gold.
He was a rake.
like he wasn't like a foil for anybody.
No. In fact, he's the one that fixed everything at the end.
Yeah.
I know. Why not just say that outright way earlier?
Because
He already had
Yeah.
said way too much outright way earlier. Because, guys, it was about diverting your expectations. Obviously, someone who's philandering with all these women on the ship obviously knocked up this woman and stole this treasure.
I mean,
If he's
I
got
don't
that ponytail, he's obviously a thief.
yeah, that ponytail was something else.
what I like too is, like you said, Jake, at the end of last week, it really is like, I mean, Harry Mudd or Han Solo, trying to throw in Han Solo. And to really drive the point home that theirs was better, or so they thought, he had 2 vests.
Yeah, they definitely the
like the pants.
costume.
The pants
The
were
costume
alright.
was definitely inspired by Han Solo.
You know, like he looked like a refugee from a terrible Star Wars fan movie.
And it looked in like when they're like when Troy is painstakingly describing his character.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was like somebody
Show, don't tell.
Someone
Show,
did the,
don't tell.
Someone did a Wikipedia search on Han Solo character traits.
Yeah.
Oh, let's make sure we get Rogue in there.
Yeah.
And make sure Data doesn't know what it means, so he can start listing off adjectives.
Oh, Rogue, jerk,
Han Solo.
Han Solo.
Voted most likely to knock up some guy's daughter.
I also had a note where, like, you know, when he meets Wesley and is real nice to him, and Wesley's just so happy. I joke, oh my god, I think we're best friends now!
I think Wesley wanted a little something.
I think everybody wanted to fuck him, including Worf. I think every single person on the ship.
Well, it's just his charm,
Ponytail.
his amazing amount of
Ponytail.
charm. I mean, I wanted to fuck the TV. Like, I literally jizzed on my TV.
You know what makes me
Oh,
really,
watching this.
I was
really
wondering what
sad
that was.
is I looked this guy up, and he played the Rocketeer.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
That's a great movie.
It is!
You know what else? I looked this guy up. He was a candidate for the role of Riker.
Yes, I saw that too.
Oh,
But they
that would've been
considered
disaster.
they considered him too soft.
I mean, you know, the thing though, I could
Don't know what that
totally
means.
see.
He was pretty hard in this episode.
Sometimes it is not the actor; it is the material.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not
Or
gonna,
the director.
or the director.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anyone was great in this episode.
I will
really.
say-
No, even Data, which is a shame.
Get rid of the ponytail and the terrible clothes.
Yeah. He's got a pretty face.
He's hotter than Riker.
I don't know. Hotter than Riker with a beard?
I don't
Yeah.
know, he's got like
I don't know.
he's got a real baby face.
yeah, a little
You
bit.
know, Riker's a little more rugged.
I guess.
A little more rakish, a little more rogue-like.
Yeah.
Rogue. A ne'er-do-well.
Well, one thing that did really kind of put me off pretty badly with this episode, though, was when, like, I get they were trying to say, look, we've advanced beyond these petty ideas, but it still seemed a bit, well, I bet Roddenberry came up with this, where it's like, I get that it is a little outdated for the father to think his honor has been besmirched by his daughter getting knocked up. So, like, yeah, that is silly, but it is still a dick move to knock a girl up and run, you know? That's not what he did, of course, but at the time, that's what everyone thinks.
I don't know. He could have done it to some of the women on the Enterprise.
He probably did. There's a
Several of
reason
them.
we never see Terry Hatcher again, and it's not just because she got that sweet Lois and Clark gig.
I mean, specifically because she asked this role to be uncredited because they cut most of her scenes.
Oh, she's supposed to have more scenes?
She was supposed to have more scenes.
Well,
Wow, Michael Dorn is actually a really handsome guy.
Isn't he?
I've never seen him without the stupid wharf head.
You will in DS9!
He's really attractive. That's not why I'm here. I'm trying to find,
But yeah, that did feel like, I feel like that could be a Roddenberry thing, just because, like, that's his perfect world. A world where you can just knock up whoever you want, and no one's allowed to get mad at you about it without seeming silly.
because it's women's lib.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And like I said, I get it. I do get that it is outdated to think, oh, the father should personally be offended, because that sort of ties into that whole your daughter's your property thing. But if, the daughter wanted to be upset, that I feel like should be her right.
I got the
Not that she was.
I
but-
got the impression that were these two families like some kind of royalty or something?
Yeah, they were. I assumed they were like the leaders of their respective worlds. Was
Yeah.
my
So
That's how it
if
seemed to me, too.
they're Romeo and Julieting this house, then they're actually ruining their bloodlines.
Yeah.
No, I know.
But there's also like, okay, so that was obvious. Everything is wrong with this episode.
Yes,
everything is written
everything.
wrong with this episode.
Every
No,
single
it's
thing.
it's horrendous.
So we haven't even touched the B plot, but so I'm gonna
We'll
say,
get there.
I'm
We'll
gonna,
get there.
I'm gonna stay on this for a
Let's
minute
finish
because
this
let's
plot.
talk about how badly this was written. So
Every kind of badly.
for half the episode, we're a good chunk into the episode before we even meet the angry dad,
Yeah. Debin.
Right? And then we meet the other angry dad.
Cushel.
And it's never explained or alluded that those two are rivals, the two dads. It's just the only suggestion we get is that, well, they both want Okona. Mm-hmm. And that's it. Like, it's not like, oh, how dare you, McGillicuddy, I'll fuck you up, you piece of shit. Oh, don't fuck yourself in the ass, you piece of garbage. I'll come over there with my rake and I'll rake you in the butthole.
Jesus Christ.
I'm not Georgia Tappan.
I think Jake's had a stroke.
I think we're back on the holodeck.
I'm
But don't worry, if
I'm
Crusher
doing a
was here,
fake
she would.
argument between
No, I
two
understood. I'm
warring,
just not sure why they were bad Irish.
Yeah, Chris, try to
just
keep up,
two
will you?
warring clans of like Irishmen, I guess.
Yes.
And they have an anal fixation on
Oh,
it.
Jimmy, my boy, hoity toity toity.
Oh, I actually want to kiss ya, McGillicuddy.
When we
Let's make out in me barn.
He's starting to sound like Mr. Krabs.
craps.
Mr. Krabs.
From
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob.
No.
But anyway, so yeah, we never get the sense until the end that these two are warring.
Well, yeah, they threaten to go to war if the other one gets custody of Okona.
Yeah, because it could definitely at first just look like they're just arguing over wanting to be the one that prosecutes this guy. It's not necessarily clear that they'd be arguing regardless. This
Yeah.
is just the latest on a long
And
string.
Picard tries to symbiosis this shit and say, Prime Directive, I have nothing to do with this, but it's like, but I have the guy, so what do? I can't symbiosis this shit when the guy is on my ship.
Yeah, just let me leave. Oh, yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
I could flush him down the toilet.
Also,
Beamed
they
into
go out of their
space.
way. They
Toilet.
spend so much time in this episode talking about how shitty everyone else's ships are. Like, that seemed unnecessary.
Yeah, it's
Why,
kind of
why was it important that the two...
That they're not a threat?
that they're not a threat? And
Good
it's
question.
restated over and over again.
There's lasers. Couldn't even cut through our navigational deflectors.
What am I gonna do? Do a PowerPoint?
Oh!
I did love that for some reason Worf is the one to have to mute the view screen every time. When Picard would give him the signal and Worf would say, muted.
Yeah.
And then unmuted.
Someone's just gonna give Picard like a little button in his pocket that
Seriously.
he can press.
Thought he was just happy to see me.
Speaking of the crappy ships, I couldn't find confirmations online, but I'm pretty sure the first one that shows up, the first Angry Dad, was Devin. I think his ship was the same one that was the transport in Star Trek 3 that woman was on who brought Krug the information about the Genesis device. Pretty sure.
I haven't looked closely at any of them.
The other
I
two
keep picturing it as the Heart of Gold, so...
Heart of gold.
Yeah, the other two, I don't know, were just indistinguishable mishmash nonsense.
And how fucked up was Okona's ship that they spent so much goddamn time fixing it? Like
It seems to be that one component,
I
too.
feel like the entire warp core goes offline and every system is down and Geordi's like, I'll get it fixed in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But like this rinky-dink ship takes 3 days to fix the fucking
Maybe because it's
doodly
like
hopper.
really, really old tech, and that's part of why.
Okona kept coming back in and re-breaking it so he'd have more time with the ladies.
Yeah, like Penelope with her.
Yeah, with her knitting.
With her knitting, yeah. think it was actually weaving, but yes.
Oh, probably.
It was close. It's okay. Same thing.
God, speaking of
Same
sexism, I love that, the second woman whose room we see is, just all bright fucking pastel lavender. It's like, chicks like their rooms, right? Just fucking pink and purple and shit?
Yeah, she likes what she likes.
Some girls do, and that's okay.
No, I know, but I feel like that was still less that and more some guy came up with it and was like, hey!
Or maybe it was the 80s.
That
It
too.
was the 80s.
Also, I'm going to suggest, and this might be out of line, but I'm going to suggest that perhaps, considering Starfleet is a military organization, and it's probably a breach of decorum for crew members on a starship to fuck random dudes and people.
Oh, I was going to say to decorate your quarters.
No,
I was going to say, they can't just put a bucket of paint.
I thought it was weird that Picard's like, I don't care if you bang everyone on the ship. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like if there's just all this banging going on the ship, I feel like that should be like a rule. And
Listen,
I feel
there's
like,
already banging going on this ship.
yeah, but it's
This is an enlightened future culture that doesn't care if you knock people up. Again, this is Roddenberry's utopia. Everyone's just fucking constantly.
I mean,
Well, they
He's the one who came up with Eileen.
I'm sure there's fucking going on constantly, even in the military now, obviously.
Sure.
But
there are
I feel like
technically
it wouldn't
fraternization.
Yeah,
rules.
I feel like it wouldn't be like a thing where Picard would just be like, no, it's cool. Fuck everybody. Fuck me.
Yeah, like
fuck
so
Data.
that-
Fuck
I
the
really-
boy.
I
Fuck
mean-
all.
But the only real danger would probably be pregnancy or STDs, and I'm guessing
That's why you fuck
that,
Data instead.
But I was gonna say, I would guess that STDs are probably basically all.
I think it's more. I think it's more
You
of
can
a.
just
I
go
think
through
it's
the
more of a
transport, it's
breakdown
gone.
in military order. I think that's more the reason why.
Yeah, but this
Well,
is
what
again.
if they fucked them on their off hours? Huh?
This is a far less militaristic version of Starfleet than we had in TOS.
That's true.
And Kirk still laid pipe like a champ.
Yeah, but
Riker will.
he always did it to an end. You know?
He didn't always, though. There were lots of times he
ejaculation.
didn't.
That was the end he was trying to work towards. Reaching climax.
I don't know. It felt weird to me that Picard's like, I don't care if you're fraternizing with the crew.
No, it was kind of weird.
I would
I
definitely
don't
write it
disagree.
off as like Roddenberry still having a lot of control and wanting to have this like constant sex future.
I mean, they were gonna go on vacation on Sex Planet with the teenagers.
That's right. Yes,
So
they
I
were.
guess this
Yeah,
isn't too much of a
certainly were.
stretch. But you know what was a stretch?
All
All
the
those
jokes.
women's bungholes
Oh.
when they met Okona. Because he fisted him in the butt with his fists.
I should have known that's where this was going, but I thought he was going to segue into the
I was
comedian.
hoping he was segueing into the comedian, because I'm done talking about Okona now.
But that arm gesture has two uses.
Good radio, everyone.
We're officially funnier than every joke in this episode.
I know.
That
We
wasn't
are
funny.
joke was
really
fun.
not funny.
No, it wasn't. That
I'm
joke
really
sucked.
not funny this week.
No.
I can't get anything to land this week.
No,
This
you
is
can't.
terrible.
You're trying too hard. You're being like Data. You're trying too
I was
hard.
saying, or
That's gotta be
Okana.
it. That's gotta be it.
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling this entire episode was written around "Take My Wharf, Please."
Yeah.
That I liked.
I liked
No,
it.
which one did I like that? Which one did I like? There was one I liked.
Yeah, they dropped all the best jokes in the last 2 seconds of the
Yeah.
episode.
I liked the "I'm digital" or whatever the fuck. That
was cute.
funny.
That was cute. Well, I'd never heard the nudist joke before.
Which show was it?
You hear
hear
the one
about
about the nudist that nothing looked good on?
Oh yeah, see, that's a clever joke.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, it's also a classic, right?
Yeah, but I'd somehow just never heard it. I don't know how.
Yeah.
He doesn't spend much time at speakeasies with flappers or something.
Yeah, but you read a joke book. Have I ever told you about the racist joke book I found at my grandfather's house? Oh
No.
my god!
Tell us more, Jay.
Does it still? Do you still have it?
I think I do. I'll look for it and show it to you at some point.
You're
But
looking at
it's-
my
it's-
bookshelf like it's on my bookshelf.
That's where he hides it.
Actually,
so
that's
that
I
it's
think the
found.
bookshelf I found. Because it used to be my grandfather's bookshelf.
Ah, okay.
So that's what made me think of it. No, it was like this. He had all these. I don't want to go into details, but there were some weird books in his collection, and among them was a. I think the title of it was like "Best Jokes for Every Occasion,"
Oh no!
and like it was and the chapters were categorized, and each one of them was like a one-liner, rim shot type thing.
Sure.
But just the chapter headings were like jokes about Orientals.
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
Jokes about Hebrews. Jokes about
No.
every race had a chapter.
Was the joke book by Joe Piscopo?
It could have been.
Because that was the sort of startling thing to me. Is like, who decided let's put Joe Piscopo on Star Trek? Because he was known for his even then kind of pushing the boundaries of decency humor.
It's
Was
because
he?
Jerry Lewis wasn't available.
So they
Is
had
that
Joe
literally
Piscopo
why? That is
come
why.
and pretend to be Jerry Lewis.
Basically.
Which, by the way, his fucking impression was offensive as fuck.
It was really, really
It was-
terrible.
it was
They let
pretty
him.
bad.
Well, they let him improvise a lot of his scenes,
Well, that was a
apparently,
big
which
fucking
sounds like a
mistake.
mistake. Which is a shame because I really, really like Johnny Dangerously, and he's great in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, every moment that he was on screen, I think I was face palming the entire fucking
I saw
time.
Johnny Dangerously once.
Once.
Nice.
Like, I think that's probably the problem, though, is, again, he was a comic who was known for,
His impressions.
and
But
adult humor, and he was on a G-rated program.
you talking about Star Trek or SM?
Yeah.
You mean the episode of Star Trek that had the rogue man
PG-rated
banging
TV
everybody?
show.
Fucking banging his way through Starfleet.
He's an admiral now.
I fucked up. All the way to the top.
But yeah, no, that whole thing was, ooh.
It's a waste of an episode.
Yeah.
It had nothing, like the two plots had nothing to do with each other.
Nope.
See, at least sometimes I think we had a moment with even the one with the people from the 90s or whatever that were in cryo. I feel like they worked better with the B story than this worked.
True. Because even just the fact that they were annoying Picard when he was trying to do serious things was more involved. Like, you could have put this B plot into any other episode, and this A plot in any other episode, and...
Well, they also didn't have... Yeah, they never interacted. The two
Nope.
plots never crossed over.
Yeah, the only time it crossed over was when Data got cut off in the middle of a joke and had to go to the bridge. That's
Yeah.
the only time that there was any overlap.
Which, by the way, I am so pissed I never get to find out how
I
that
wanted
joke
to hear
ends.
that joke.
Well, like I said, there's probably many, many, many nerds who have come up with their own punchlines.
Actually, I would like to see those.
No.
Most of them are probably awful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I did like the scene when Dana created an audience and they laughed at every bad
Oh,
joke.
it made me cry.
She was very upset.
I didn't actually cry, but like when he realizes that they're just laughing because they're bullshit, he looks so bummed out.
Yeah, okay, that was good work by Brent Spiner, but I felt like the whole device was just stretching the episode.
So, the episode.
Bad.
Bad.
Terrible.
Bad.
Fucking
Very
bad.
awful.
Very
Like, it was-
bad.
Worst. Yeah, I would rather see the Ferengi again.
Really?
Well,
In their TNG state.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I want
I would rather
Okona
Wesley have his sweaters back.
to get frozen in carbonate and dumped in the Sarlacc's anus.
I'd rather he just get thrown directly into the fucking warp core. Yeah, I'm not sad we never see him again.
Yeah.
He should pal up with Bem. That's what he's got to do.
This was like BEM level
It
episode.
was obnoxious. Like I can see like, oh, let's have a new quirky character that the ladies will like and everyone else will have shenanigans with. But no, it was every moment was annoying.
Yep.
And if their intention was to make him a recurring character that would like pop up,
I think that had to be
like,
that point.
oh,
Well, or-
there's that wacky Okada.
They
oh
spent
boy.
so much of the episode trying to convince you to love him by having fucking Riker fucking like filleting him with his words.
Well, that's just the
Fillet
way
me
he
with my
lives,
words.
Wesley. He's a free spirit.
Yeah, it's just fucking... It's the same problem we had with Wesley, where it was
Wesley,
like...
like Gladiator movie.
In his early
You ever
appearances...
seen a grown man naked?
Oh, God. In his early appearances where, like, the show wanted you to love him, so what they did was they overdid it and you hated him. They did the same with Okona, but they did, like, 15 episodes worth of I hate this guy in the, like, however much of this episode he was in. Not even half, probably.
Yeah.
The outrageous, super concentrated Okona.
Yeah, no, it was a massive, massive failure
And,
on
like,
every level.
Why was he palling around with these kids? Like that's the real question.
Oh, Benzan and Yanar?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's a
They might have been of an age.
he's a freighter pilot. He probably had been legitimately hired by one of the families for some other reason.
I did like the name of his ship. The ship was called the Erstwhile, which is a nice
That
word.
is a nice word.
Yeah, it's not bad. And it's a good thing. I'm surprised they didn't call it like the 1,000-Year Eagle or something.
My God.
But
Erstwhile feels like a Douglas Adams ship or something.
kind of,
somehow.
yeah. But either way, I think it's not too inconceivable that he could have been on a legitimate trading mission for
Inconceivable!
yes, one of the parents, and then before he left, the kid was like, "Yeah, Mr. Okona, you gotta help me. I'm within the love with the girl from the planet. Would you
How
send me
did he
this
knock
message?"
her up? If they're from different planets.
Why are you
He's a really long con.
Because he
What?
actually said...
He said he
Did you
smuggled.
say he's a really long con? Is that what you said? What did you
I
say?
said he has a long cock.
Oh, damn it. That's not what I thought you said.
He does say, yeah, you were saying.
He snuck them to each other.
Oh, is that what they said?
Yeah.
That's dumb.
I thought you said it was a really long con or something, and that's why I thought it was, like, hilarious, even though I'm not sure if that makes sense.
I don't know how that would make sense.
It
but
made me
I'll take the
delighted.
credit anyway.
I wish that's what you said, but I'm glad it isn't, because it doesn't make sense.
well, what I said in reality was even worse, so don't worry about it.
I don't know. Yeah, if you had a cock that big, I just feel like you would die if you got
You
an
have to
erection.
spiral it up.
You could touch everyone's dick with that.
He would have to have... He would... Sorry. You know, those, like, spindles that they have for, like, garden hoses where you have to, like, crank it back. You just have this big one for his dick.
It would take, like, hours to urinate. It's like, if you have a really long hose and you turn the water on, it takes several seconds.
I mean, like I said, if he ever actually got an erection, he would die. Like,
Probably, yeah.
all of the blood would be just...
And that's just the kid. The kid on the planet.
Yeah.
With the gem. Cock ring.
Also, I was not very impressed by the gem. Because, like, he was like, he stole my gem! And you see him, like, actually playing with the gem at one point, but it wasn't even clear to me that it was a gem. I thought it was like a...
I mean, this
Some
is
kind
the
of
same
pocket
series
watch.
that
Shit.
had Deanna Troy's dowry be represented by obviously plastic jewels. They're still working on it.
She got Armin Shimmerman's face, though.
That's true and
That is
terrifying. I'm in a box!
Cork in a box.
Yeah.
Alright, we done with this shit.
Guinan was stuck up. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah,
I
seriously.
like Guinan.
I like Guinan. I feel like all of her scenes, she just felt stuck up.
Yeah, she's a little smug or something.
I mean, she is, but I like that about her.
Oh, actually, yeah.
Yeah, but it didn't work as well in this one.
Yeah, it didn't work off of Data actually wanting her help.
Yeah, it's like, come on, lady.
Like, she was better with Wesley,
Much.
actually.
She was punching down a little
She
bit.
was.
Well, that was something.
It certainly was.
Well,
What's next week that's going to be better than this?
Oh, God.
well, next,
Anything.
Well, let's see.
Colonoscopy.
Well, let's see.
The
we
episode.
have 2 episodes next week on our
boy.
show. We'll be talking about The Next Generation, Episode 2, Season 5.
You mean...
Scratch
Strike
that.
that, reverse
it. Loud as a Whisper. As well as The Schizoid Man. Wubba wubba wubba. That's
The Schizoid Man.
The Schizoid Man. That's
Feels ableist.
well, it's the title is the same as a title from the show The Prisoner from the 60s.
Is it?
Who is number one?
I was going to say,
Who
there's
is number
also...
one?
You're
in-
number 6.
I can't remember if it's a
I am
title or
not a
just...
number. I'm a free man.
It might
Why
not
would
be
I
the...
tell you you are?
It might not be the title. It might just be a line. Might be both. Of, I think, an Emerson, Lake and Palmer song, 20th Century Schizoid Man.
Yeah.
Sitting in his schizoid land.
Not exactly.
But yeah, so that's next week. It's going to be great. We're going to have a great time. This isn't a visual medium.
Onions
Yeah.
are making you cry. You're making me cry. Forget about it. What are you jerking
Now
off?
you're
dicks?
jerking off dicks.
Turning them into dicks. What was up with that cigar? That cigar was terrible.
He said it
You
was a
need
pop
a-
thing.
He borrowed it from Bill Clinton.
Oh, ooh,
Jesus
stinky
Christ.
cigar.
So where can you find us on social media, Jake?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, Chris.
Jesus,
we are
place.
going to be on Tumblr and
Yep.
Twitter.
Yeah.
SSHB Podcast. We're also on Facebook. You can just search for us, A Star to Steer Her By. You can download our podcast on iTunes and on Apple and Google. Search for A Star to Steer Her By podcast. I'm sure you'll find it.
Are iTunes and Apple different things?
No.
They're all together.
Okay.
It's all one
See, I know
thing.
nothing about how people will listen to our podcast because I just listen to it on SoundCloud.
It does
so.
kind of give
Well,
us
that's.
I
I'm
go
glad
to
you
the-
mentioned
I-
SoundCloud.
I go to
you
the
can get us on
website.
SoundCloud.
SoundCloud.
SoundCloud. You can find us on SoundCloud
Joe
too.
Piscopo is a SoundCloud.
You can subscribe with your podcast app on your phone. If you have an Android Google phone, search for podcast.
like OneCast
Sir-
or the other ones.
you know, I have one that's called
How do you listen to our
Podcast
podcast, Jake?
Addict. I like
That's
that.
what I use.
Oh, I have that one also.
Oh,
I
wow,
have Podcast
we are
Addict
all
and
podcast
OneCast.
addicts.
There we
I'm
go.
not.
I do
'cause I
not
don't have these
subscribe to our podcast,
Why?
but I will, and then
You should rate us.
I will rate us on the iTunes.com.
Oh, see, I haven't
Star to Steer Her By.
rated us on iTunes because that feels disingenuous.
I think you have to do it.
No,
we don't have very many
I actually
ratings
won't.
yet, so.
I'm
Did you
not
say
going to
disingenuous?
Disingenuous.
It just
rather.
seems a little. It's not great. It's like a Trumpy thing to do. I think
Yeah.
it's like something. If Trump had a podcast, he would give himself 5 stars.
No, he wouldn't bother with that. He would just tell everyone it had 6.
He would hire a Russian botnet to do it for him.
Yeah.
I do have a Star to Steer Her By, though, on my one cast.
Well, there you go. So yeah. Anyway, find us on all of those platforms or any other way. If you, I think we should start putting out a weekly cassette tape,
There we go.
and you can send us self-addressed stamped envelope.
Yeah.
We'll put the address. So, well, we're not going to give it our address. We'll get a P.O. box or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's what we'll do. And we'll sign our names on it. We'll sign an autograph.
What?
I don't know. This is a mail-in promotion.
Oh.
So go into your parents' bedrooms and open up the leather wallet in your daddy's pants and take out the little green slips of paper and send them to me.
And
Call
dial
us to
1-900 and call Santa.
Call 1-900 SSHB podcast. Hello. We will now play a Star to Steer Her By podcast.
I mean,
that would
it's-
be a great way to raise money for the show.
If it's charged a minute, we don't have to talk slow. We just put up our longest episode.
No,
Which I
every
still
week we
think
post
is
an episode
one of the
on the
movies,
900
or-
number, and then that's such a great idea. People could call up and listen to the podcast on their phone.
Yes, it can't fail. Let's sell them something for $5 a minute that they can get for free on the internet.
Well, we'll also...
What a dastardly plan.
Well,
Here we'll do. We'll put the raws up. That's for our true
yeah.
fans.
God.
Whoa,
So much breathing.
That's where the blackmail lives. You can't give him that. Fuck. Now Chris is fucking us, Jake. Do you see what he's just done? He's turned it around, so we're gonna have to give him the money so he doesn't charge them the money to listen to all the horrible things we've said.
Listen. If this is like a special thing for our true fans, I'm not really worried about anybody hearing it.
It took me a second.
Okay. Anyway,
We don't have any of
I
those.
think we've had enough.
We have like 30.
We have
We've had 3,600 listens total as of today.
Most of them are
3,600.
me.
How
playing
long
it
have we
over
been
and over
doing
again.
this? 4 years.
That's how many seconds are in an hour. 125,600 minutes. How do you measure your dick?
in centimeters because it makes it feel bigger.
That's almost topical because wasn't Stamets in the original
Yeah,
cast?
he originated the role of Mark, which is my favorite person in the show.
Stamets is a
'cause
much better role.
He's
What
a
show is
nasally,
this?
whiny
Rent.
shit.
Rent.
I love Anthony Rapp so much. If Anthony Rapp is listening to this podcast, I just
Which
want to
he
say,
is.
obviously, that I love you, and I love your character, and I even liked your one-man show that you did in Boston.
We have a really long end of our episode this week because we still haven't gotten out of it.
Well, because Jake hasn't said his name yet.
Oh, that's right. Man, I'm really losing it.
This has been...
This has been a Star to Steer Her
God
By
damn it!
podcast. Find us on iTunes.
No, you did this bit.
Oh, I already
this
did
has
this.
been...
Star to Steer Her By.
Son of a bitch! Jake us out!
Oh, Jake is out! You should have just said that, man.
Never say that!
I was trying not to.
Thank you for trying. He's
All right.
just failing that hard.
All right, find us on iTunes. My name's Jake.
This has been Chris.
This has been Ames.
This is always Caitlin.
1-900 Star to Steer.
1-900 make it
Take
stop.
my wharf, please.
It's like that episode of The Twilight Zone. This guy, gets a wish somehow, and he's a comedian. He's not very successful. And he's like, I just wish everyone would find me funny. So, he just has to go up on stage and, say hi, and people are rolling in the aisles. But, of course, there's the Twilight Zone twist, where he just can't talk to anybody, anywhere. People are constantly laughing, and, and he wants to be taken seriously as an actor, and it's not working, and this and that.
That's why you don't do wishes. That's actually one of my constant worries, is if a genie...
My constant worry, my greatest fear in life is that I'll encounter a genie.
Exactly. It is. Because what do you ask for in a way that isn't going to fuck you over somehow? Because I know there's the one that he says, oh, I asked for eternal life or something, but you rot into a skeleton, but you're still alive. Or I ask for my wish would be to have health until I die, So I'm sure a genie would just poof, kill me right there and say, well, you were healthy till you died.
Just ask for a shitload of money. And then you'll literally start shitting out money.
Yeah, see?
Oh, God, my anus!
Or I
think that would be worth it.
I feel like, too, though, I've seen a variant on that where, like, they wish for money, but rather than poof the money, the genie, like, robs a bank.
Yep.
And then, of course, that guy gets arrested because he's got the
bills.
Yeah, that's like the fucking monkey's paw story where everything is terrible.
Honestly say, between, like, nuclear annihilation... disease, destitution, car crashes, other disasters that can happen.
Polar bears.
Polar bear attack.
Tossed salads,
scrambled eggs, lightning strike. Out of all the things that I am deathly afraid of, genies are not one of them.
Pretty low on the list.
See, our generation is soft, though, because I feel like up until the Disney's Aladdin, most genies were those sort of, I'm gonna grant your wish ironically and fuck you over genies. We have this screwed up notion that genies just
the Robin
nice
Williams
guys who want to just kind of...
sing a song at you. Ain't
And
never
all
had a
that.
friend like me.
Don't do that. Don't sing the song. We get pulled down. Disney somehow, finds it.
Yeah.
Hidden
Seriously,
in there.
I post it 5 seconds later, a bunch of fucking literal Star Wars stormtroopers burst through the window and kick the shit out of me.
That's a good way to
Star
go.
Wars TM.
Sorry, yes.